Thank you very much, Shalini. Can you open?
Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you, Dr. Chitra. And I'm going to show this. I would request the IT team to share my video. So I'm going to show this case of a multifocal IOL.
This video is a presentation from GSBM Medical College Kanpur. Multifocal IOLs are the real challenge, and we want a perfect IOL that needs surgical expertise with high patient's expectations. We want a patient like this, but if we have a patient like this, क्या से क्या हो गया? This was a patient with a decentered plate haptic multifocal IOL after post-traumatic cataract surgery. The main port was freshened, which was temporal in location. Judicious OVDs were injected behind the IOL to inflate the bag and to lift the haptic of the IOL. OVD was also injected in front of the IOL to secure the corneal endothelial cells. A non-tooth angled forceps was taken to hold the haptic and to bring it out of the bag, and then it was put into the anterior chamber. A dumbbell dialer was taken so that the remaining part of the haptic can be taken out of the bag gently and without further extending the subluxation. Viscoelastic was injected to shift the IOL nasally and to inflate the bag nicely. The area of subluxation was assessed and it was planned to implant a CTR. The CTR was implanted in bag gently and covering the area of subluxation. And then all the four haptics of the IOL were implanted in bag. Pilocarpine was injected to constrict the pupil and to check the centration of IOL. This was followed by viscoelastic removal and hydration of the wound. This was the post-operative picture.
Thank you very much, Dr. Shalini. That was a wonderful video. Nothing could have been done better than what you did. The most important thing she told us was that if it is a decentered IOL, either it's a broken haptic, or the second thing which we need to suspect is an area of zonular weakness which has to be taken care. Now, Anagha, I would want your thoughts in this, and I would want the expert panel to definitely chip in here. Now, would you all of you believe that you would center a multifocal IOL on the Purkinje reflex? Number one. What is the role of angle alpha? Number two. The third question is, would you believe in centering it on the photopic pupil, scotopic pupil, or centered on the visual axis? Three questions here. One is about the Purkinje center reflex. Second is the thing. So, Anagha, would you want to answer some of it? And then, of course, I want the expert panel to open here.
Yes, ma'am. Lovely video, Dr. Shalini, and really very, very proficient in that. Regarding the Purkinje images and centralizing the IOL, ma'am, definitely we need to center it on the visual axis. So when you're asking the patient to look at the light, obviously when the patient is under topical, it is easier. However, when you have a situation like this, if there is a zonular dialysis and or if the angle kappa is much higher in a patient, then definitely it could be a cause of concern, especially if it's a very high diopter lens and if it's a very young patient. So if it's a very grossly decentered lens, then definitely there could be cause of concern of nighttime issues. So you need to know first of all which kind of patient you have, and if the patient is going to be very finicky about it, and definitely these are the things that you're going to measure in your pre-operative workup. So if you have a threshold of say 0.4 and you're not going to go beyond it, then definitely you're in the safe zone. In a very, very high dioptric lens, then definitely your threshold has to be 0.4. However, I've seen in my experience, even if I have gone up to 0.5, 0.7, in few patients who don't have so much of night driving, patients are still not complaining. So it is definitely a controversial subject, and how much importance to give that is everybody's call at that point of time.
Yeah.
Point basis what you are saying, actually at times it is not under your control. Wherever you put it, it's ultimately the shape of the bag that's going to decide whether the lens is going to sit where. You may leave anything on the table, and the thing is that it can move either way. So until of course you have an A. So what has been suggested as a patent is that you could have asymmetric haptics. So if you have done pre-operatively and you make as a asymmetric haptics, then if you want a dislocation, say nasally, temporally, or whatever it is, then you could have it. But otherwise, if you have a plate lens which is all over the same, or you have a normal lens, you may put it anywhere. It will move ultimately to fit the capsular bag. So that's not really under a surgeon's control. You can the decentration would therefore happen the way it has to happen. The second thing what you made, the point is absolutely correct. There was a case of mine where a colleague of mine had done a toric implant, an ICL actually, and the patient, it was rotating. So I said, okay, let's go ahead and just see. And there was a rotation. We went ahead and just redialed. And after 3 days, the patient came back to us and said that, it is again the problem, and we saw that there is a rotation. So I said that, okay, let me do it this time. And we said that I will change the size of the lens. It was mind-boggling. The other eye was behaving very well. This eye was not behaving well, and the size of the ICL was the same. So I went in, I got a larger sized lens just to say that, okay, I'll replace it. That's about it. But the moment I pushed down the haptics, I saw that one of the haptics was actually broken. And that was the key point. And that person had not, my colleague had not seen that he had broken that at the time of this thing. And you may do anything, it will get decentered. So obviously there was nothing wrong with the sizing of the ICL, but it was a broken haptic, one of the plates that was broken. So I took it out and put in another lens of the same size, and the patient is behaving very well. So that point is well taken, that if you have something which is broken, that can cause decentration. And if that is the case, then it's good to replace the lens, which is reasonably easy.
Yeah. On the table, however, besides all the wonderful things which were said, centering it on the Purkinje reflex, there are 4 reflexes, and from the different layers, the anterior, posterior of the cornea and the lens surface. So you do see these 3 dots, the triangular dots on the anterior surface of the cornea and also on the posterior surface of the lens when you place your IOL. And you should ensure that these light reflexes come to the center. But if you have done a good IOL placement, if your bag rexus overlap is good, and you ensure that the Purkinje reflexes are centered on the table, that's about all you could do. Although you should have kept in mind angle alpha and angle kappa. Dr. Vavikar, Dr. Ramurthy, anything to add?
I think I tend to agree with Mahipal in the sense that, I feel centering the lenses on the table is a waste of time. I mean, in the sense that the overall diameter of the lenses is 13 to 13.5 millimeters. you're putting it in a capsular bag, which is 11.5 millimeters. The pliable haptics get compressed. The final position of the lens would entirely depend upon the dimensions and the orientation of the axis in which you put it. So leaving it on the table might give you a momentary satisfaction of centering it somewhere, but then final resting place would be somewhat different. And as regards Shalini, your case, nice demonstration, but what do you think is the primary cause? The dislocation was quite significant on the first post-operative day. What was the
subluxation? She showed, no, she has placed the CTR.
What is the reason?
Yes, sir. This was a patient referred to us. It was a traumatic cataract, and probably the surgeon missed the subluxation of bag, which was evident next day. And then this was referred to us. And then we saw that there was a subluxated area. And I just wanted to convey the message that whenever we are operating these kind of cataract, our preoperative basket should be complete, like having CTR, Sionis, and viscodispersive OVD, so that whenever we need any kind of device, we have handy in our hands and we can implant it immediately in such patients.
This kind of a gross subluxation, in my mind, will occur only when there is a defect in the capsular bag in the equatorial region, because of which the lens tends to slip in. So just because you have brought it and centered it on the table on the first post-operative day, I don't think it's going to stay there. It will just go slip back into its original place, because that's a defect in the capsular bag, and you're not dealing with it by putting in an endocapsular ring also. In case the rhexis was intact, what I would have done in this case is to cut the lens, remove it, and put a 3-piece multifocal intraocular lens if the patient was very specific in the sulcus with an optic capture which would have stabilized. But when the subluxation is so gross of the intraocular lens, that's because of the defect in the capsular bag in the equatorial region. Even if we center it on the table the next day, I think you're very fortunate that it stayed that way.
Can I add something?
Yes.
Yeah, I think there's a beautiful cohesion with what Dr. Mahipal and Dr. Amurthy is saying. Two things. I think there was a little bit of ovaling of the pupil, which was post-traumatic. So the pupil itself, in a case of post-trauma, could be atrophic. So you're getting a bang-on center could be tricky because you don't have a perfectly round-centered pupil, number one. Number two, having a plate haptic IOL in a zone where you have zonular break or a breach in the capsule equator is a bad thing. In case you want to put in a multifocal again, I would agree with Dr. Ramurthy, either go into the 3-piece lens or explant the lens and put in a loop single piece. You're far more stable. Number 3, in case there is no breach in the bag, the alignment of this plate haptic lens has to be where the maximum subluxation was. Make sure that it lies in the same axis. So because this, along with your CTR, pushes the bag backward and doesn't make sure that it doesn't rotate. And one final point is that in such cases, you will never get a bang on center. So I agree with Dr. Shalini. I have so many patients where I'm seeing the second ring, up to the second ring, and the patient is absolutely comfortable. Now, these are the patients, especially with the plate haptic lens, where the bags are a little bigger and the lens probably settles down wherever it decides to settle down. So it is subjective from patient to patient. Some patients, even with a bang-on center lens, may have issues, and some patients where you have the second or the third ring exposed, patients are asymptomatic. So this is a big gamble, I guess.
Thank you very much for all the wonderful inputs.